What's that one dish from your home country that always brings you comfort and nostalgia?
As Punjabi, this is one of the meals that we grew up eating. It's my favorite, makki di roti with sarson da saag.
Now, before you even said that, I could hear it.
You
Before you
knew
even
it,
said
it's
that.
coming.
So today I have the absolute pleasure of introducing someone whose journey deeply resonates with my own. Her story begins at LaSalle College in Montreal, where I also started my educational journey here in Canada. Her growth, mindset, and the remarkable person she has become are nothing short of inspiring. She moved to Canada in 2013 at the age of 18. Coming from a small village near Phagwara, her first experience with a crowd was actually at the airport. She was shy, struggled to ask questions in class, and had to adapt to a culture where talking to strangers was encouraged, a huge contrast to her upbringing. During her first year, she found herself in a whole new world, needing to learn its rules while maintaining her mission and desire. 6 months in, feeling overwhelmed, she turned to books for solace. A breakdown led her to search online for ways to feel better, which is when she discovered Tony Robbins' motivational videos. Applying these lessons transformed her life. She has also made a significant impact as a career coach, helping many find their true potential and navigate their professional paths. Her wisdom, captured in powerful quotes and insightful perspectives, is something I'm eager for us all to learn from today. One of my favorite quotes of hers is, No is actually next opportunity. Without further ado, please welcome Daljit Kaur.
Thank you so much, Gursis, for having me here today. It is such a pleasure and such an honor to be here.
Pleasure is all mine. Very, very excited to have you on the podcast and very excited for the listeners to actually learn about your journey. So, welcome once again.
Thank you so much. I have tuned into your podcast, and it is a source of inspiration, and it has many relatable stories that is like which is actually really needed for all of the immigrants out there. And I just want to take a moment to congratulate you on doing such an amazing work, and at the same time, I just want you to know that you know this is needed, and as long as
Mhm.
you're doing this, please keep pushing it, because it's really needed in the community, in the society right now for all of us. Yes.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for your kind words. And I feel like when people like you reach out and they appreciate a new content creator, so to say, and I think
Yeah.
it's really, really appreciated. And also, it kind of gives me a sort of a boost and encouragement to keep doing. So, thank you so much for all this. Yeah.
No, it's my pleasure.
So, Dilji, diving into your journey, but before that, I have added this new segment, in my second season of the podcast. And because I'm trying to turn up the fun factor a little bit, so I have just fun questions to ask you. Okay.
Okay, I'm not ready for that, but let's do it.
Well, there's nothing extraordinary, very simple questions, I can assure you for that. So, all
Okay.
right. So, my first question is, what's your go to breakfast?
Oh my God. It's like love of my life right now. It's peanut butter toast. Uh,
Okay.
Sometimes I put fruits on it, like a banana or something, but I need peanut butter toast and my cha da cup, my cha, not chai in the morning to start my day with. That has been actually something like for years now. I don't even know. Sometimes
Hmm.
I ask myself, is it even healthy that I have been eating this for this while? But anyways, that gives me the comfort, that gives me that kick to start my morning.
Hmm. Absolutely. And do you remember what you used to have when you first came to Canada? What was your breakfast then?
When I first came to Canada, honestly, it took few, I would say, weeks to actually find time to have a
Hmm.
breakfast, because there's like so much going, and you're just like trying to find a time to do everything all together. And I remember not even having breakfast few mornings, just running to catch that bus in the early morning to get to the college and then work and all, right? But I do
Yeah.
remember that I was actually, um, you know, shared this peanut butter toast with me. And I feel like since then, it has been just my go to. I do definitely make conscious effort to bring some twists in my morning
Hmm.
routines with like oatmeal and stuff like that. My parent has too.
Hmm.
In the beginning, definitely it was all over the place, and I was just going with cereal, with whatever I can have in the morning just to pass by, I would say.
Okay. Perfect. So my next question is, Diljit, share like a favorite song or a dialogue or a movie and tell us why it's significant to you.
Uh, I would say I can share actually a quote. I'm big on quotes.
Hmm.
I feel like they are like a message from universe, and then at a different phase of your life, when you're going through different phases, they come in,
Hmm.
right? And then they sort of give you the inspiration to go through that tough phase. And the one which I needed the most,
Hmm.
I remember, and even now sometimes it pushes me forward, is quitters never win and winners never quit. That's the
Hmm.
quote
I like that.
that just, yeah, like on the days when, uh, I need that mindset when we are like feeling the self doubt, that when we are feeling defeated, it's important for us to not fall into that victim mindset, and it's
Yeah.
important for us to be gentle with ourselves too, but at the same time remind ourselves the true potential that we have. And I feel like this quote actually really um, is something that I lead with in my life. Yeah. Sorry, it
Yeah,
wasn't
no,
super fun for your audience right now. I'm just like giving them a quote instead of a movie or a song or something.
no, I think it was a great quote, and I feel like something again, somebody who is an immigrant or just in general, anybody anywhere in the world, this is
Yeah.
something which they can really, keep with them as a lesson, that's why I said, no matter whatever the lessons that one comes with, there's something in that people can actually take from it and apply that in their life, right? So even if it's just a quote, absolutely, I'm sure people are going to love it. But there must be like some movies or some songs that you really resonate with a lot or you listen to. There must be some movies, maybe you visit some movies again and again.
Honestly, I'm not big on like television. It's something that is just not a part of me, which actually I am now working
Hmm.
on. It's
Okay.
changing. Maybe just this is a new phase of for me right now. I'm consciously diving more into seeing more movies or whatever shows
Hmm.
or whatever we call it. But intentionally, it's the mindset that I had, even have right now, which is I'm very conscious about where I want to invest my energy and my time.
Okay.
So if I end up watching movies, they are really, fictional characters. I love Disney. I love, Marvel. I just really end up
Hmm.
watching those
Okay.
movies that takes my imagination beyond my own current reality. I feel like that just gives the boost, and that
Hmm.
just strikes these mini little aha
Hmm.
moments that are like, oh, okay, I can do something like that too. Or maybe like
Yeah.
it just encourages me to get take a dive into this curiosity world where I just feel like I enjoy, learning more about the possibilities that can be done, which are, you know, very hard to see in this
Hmm.
real world. Sometimes we are like really into this box. We see ourselves that we have a routine, this, do that. So for me, when I need to escape from this real world just for the
Hmm.
sake of entertainment, I go with the Disney movies and yeah, some inspirational, some biographies and stuff like that. Yes.
So my next question is, Diljit, if you had to teach like one phrase or word or anything in your mother tongue to us, what would it be and what does it mean?
Okay, okay. um Chardi kala. That's the word I
Hmm.
would really like to, spread, because I think this the word chardi kala, it in its own is that like a boost. that just when you
Hmm.
say it, someone asks you, how are you doing? You can simply say, yeah, I'm doing good. Or you can say, Chardi kala. There is this,
Yeah,
energy that flows through your body. And
absolutely.
it's
Yeah.
it's hard to explain in words, but that's the word. And I feel that there's so much power in that word. There's so much positivity in that word. And I if I had yeah, if I have an opportunity, I'll definitely take this one.
Okay, yeah, and I think a literal translation would be like an ascending energy, or it can be described as being in high spirits or positive and optimistic. So, like chardi kala, it's that.
Yeah, like growing and moving forward, sort of that energy
Absolutely, yeah.
that I'm like unstoppable. It's all of
Hmm.
that. Yes.
Yeah, I love that. Love this. All right, and finally, if you could teleport back to a particular place from your home country or anywhere in the world, let's just say, where would it be, and what would you do?
It's a tough one. This is Gersis is a tough one because these days I'm really feeling the homesick and I want to go back and
Hmm.
live there for like few months. And choosing one is going to be definitely hard because I was born there, I grew up there, so I have so many memories there, so many different places that would really bring that peace and happiness. If you were asking
Hmm.
me to choose one right now, I would say um, my school and
Hmm.
my village. Yeah, it
Yeah.
was just that's where I learned more about myself. I started learning
Hmm.
more about who I
Yeah.
am. I started learning more about relationships, the importance of love, the importance of, respect, all of those little things when we learn with throughout our family, the relationships. Yes. So school is something that I would really want to go back and
Okay, so
yeah.
speaking of going back, let me take you back to the time you spent in India. Tell us a little bit
Okay.
about your formative years, how was just life there, and what the focus was on growing up.
I think it's a lot like a lot of us, right? Our focus when we are back
Hmm.
home is really our parents. They spend a lot of their time and money and energy in making sure they are providing us the best education, best uh, whatever we need in order to succeed academically. And that's what
Hmm.
I had too when I was growing up there. The only focus I would say for me was to succeed in my studies and
Hmm.
make sure that whatever I am doing, it's helping me in my future. One of the things that really motivated me that my father worked really hard, and same with my mom too. I feel like growing up, I saw them giving up on their desires just to save up to give me and my
Hmm.
younger brother the best education, and that
Yeah.
created this inner deep desire to give back to them, not only to them but to also whoever I can, right? I just wanted to make sure whatever they are investing in me, it's going to give them a return, like a return on investment in the technical world, right?
Yeah.
And that somehow created this passion or enthusiasm where I started uh, giving the tuitions very early on. When I was like in
Hmm.
10th grade, I was giving the tuition to like ninth. When I was like in like 12th grade, I was like giving the tuition to like my you know 11th grade students. So it was very focused, it was very driven. My years of, yeah, I feel like the environment that I had, the family that they always gave us that environment where we should just be very diligent towards our
Hmm.
studies and
Okay.
towards our future. Yes, so that's just
Hmm.
what my years look like, along with just those lovely memories that we create with our friends when we go to this college and schools. Yes, nothing super special.
I think it's unique. It's unique to you, and it's special in its own way, which I feel like sometimes we're unable to put them in words, right? But those
Yeah.
times are very precious to all of us. But can you tell a little bit about because I remember you talking about like how moving from the small village to the actual city in the school was like the first cultural shock to you,
Oh
right?
yeah, definitely
So
that
tell me
one.
about that.
I think that shaped everything today, who I am. So I
Mhm.
studied until fifth grade in the village school, and then my parents decided to put me in the CBSE school from sixth grade. Well,
Mhm.
I was technically gonna start in sixth, but the whoever the teachers are like, hey, there's gonna be a big switch for her,
Mhm.
so we recommend you to let her repeat the same class. That in
Okay.
itself for me was like a big shame for me. I was just like,
Hmm.
why? I just completed my sixth grade and now I have to do it again, you know? And then I was like, okay, maybe there is something wrong with me, you know? Then you're little, you don't know those things, right?
Yeah.
Um, when you're young. So for me, that was like the first thing. And then when I actually pivoted to that school, now imagine you're like studying in this small school in the village and now you're in just giant big blocks in the city, like,
Yeah.
and you're trying to figure out where is your classroom, and the
Mhm.
students who have been there studying from maybe their nursery grade, the way they talk, the way they act is completely different. For me it was like alien, right? For me it was just like,
Mhm.
okay, where am I? But like today I know about all of those things, but back then I didn't know how to express my emotions. I didn't know what to do about it.
Mhm.
I didn't know how to fit in. I didn't know how to adapt. And I remember even being bullied simply because
Hmm.
I was an outsider for them. And it was very tough. And I remember constantly going through that fight of fitting in and just
Mhm.
asking and myself that why, like, you know, why am I here and what's going on and all sort of emotions. But somewhere that was the pivot I believe that I needed because um, even until now, you know, when we are faced with those tough situations, those uncomfortable challenges, we question our self worth, we question our, you know, desires or our worth. And
Yeah.
if you deep down don't know who you are, you're gonna really get distracted or disturbed by those
Yeah.
situations. So, somewhere that journey for me was setting the strong foundation because it gave me an opportunity to start learning more about myself from that early age. It was
Mhm.
very tough. The first year was hell, I would say, and nobody really knew about it. And even at my I remember my mom used to ask me, "What happened to you? Why you're so quiet these days?" Because I'm very
Okay.
talkative. I used to be very talkative even now, so it really affected me. But that was the moment I think I connected with spirituality too very
Mhm.
early on. Because, you know, when you're young, your parents tell you one thing, they're like, pray to this God or they're gonna give you this. Right? And you're just like, really?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll make sure I'll pray this and I'll do these many parts so that God is going to help me. And from because I was going through that, I don't know, is it a shock? Is it a suffering? Is it a tough? Obviously, for a sixth grade student, you're 13 or what, how old you are, you're just like waking up with an anxiety that I have to go to school today is a big thing, right? And you
Yeah.
know, in our culture, we don't speak about these things very much. And then for
Yeah.
me, the only rescue was God. So I was like,
Mhm.
okay, I'm going to believe in you. And as other people say that you help people who, you know, who are in need, so I'm in need, so help me. And I feel like I started developing that inner relationship with God from that age, which is actually the beautiful foundation that I have.
Mhm.
And yeah, I hope I'm answering your question because this conversation can go very long.
You did definitely did, and I think with all of us, including me, when I was younger, my first introduction to spirituality and those scriptures was to the with the intent of having their instant gratification, right? Oh, you do this. This is gonna
Yeah,
happen, right? And
right.
Nepat Carlo, this is gonna benefit you.
Baba ji is
So
gonna bless you.
exactly, God is gonna bless you. I think it also happened with that, but I feel like then from there on, when you obviously start living on your own and you understand that okay, there's another uh,
Yeah.
reason behind all these things, there's another existence that happens, right? You start understanding those, you start reading in between the lines and all those nuances you should never even looked at before when you were younger. Well, I think again, like you just said, this can go on and on, but we will pivot towards your Canadian planning move.
Hmm.
We will pivot towards your move to Canada.
Yeah.
And you have mentioned it so many times, like when you were younger, you could not even fathom the idea of moving to Canada or
Oh,
even
yeah.
moving abroad, right? And then you guys packed your bags and then you decided to come to Canada. Tell me
Right.
how did that happen and how was the process for you like?
Yeah, definitely. So the process, if I talk about it, it seems very simple, but I'll then walk you and the audience through the philosophy behind it. The process came to me that when I did my, high school, which is like plus two for us, I completed
Hmm.
that. Then a very important person in my life was like my grandmother's sister who actually inspired my parents be like, a lot of kids are coming in Canada. I was like back in 11 or 12, 12, right? That, hey,
Hmm.
she's great in her studies. How about you guys give it a chance? And then my parents were like, you know what? We'll think about it because of the finances. Obviously, there was a big investment that has to be done. And I'm coming from a very humble background where, it's not something very convenient. They can just think about it and do it. So my parents are like, you know what? We'll think about it. And in the meanwhile, before starting my graduation, sorry, not my graduation, bachelor's, I had some time. We always have a little break for a few months. And I had
Yeah.
that. And I decided just to take IELTS classes to improve my English. Like, I'll just do it. There's no intention behind it that I'm actually gonna go,
Hmm.
but there's time. So why not just do it? Anyways, I have to do something. And I ended up getting just six bands. That's what I think I needed during that time because I wasn't even putting that much effort in it. And once I got the bands, and once I think the confirmation was there that there is an opportunity, I think it was really on my parents, and they were just like, you know what, you are. We see you working really hard, diligently, and we just want to make sure that we are giving you the support that you need to succeed in your life. It was just simply their gesture, their decision. And I was like, okay, it's fine, we can try. And then we had this mindset, let's just try, let's just see. If it happens, it's okay. If it doesn't happen, that's fine too. We just sent
Yeah.
the application and we did the process, and I ended up getting the visa. Okay. Now that's the simple process, right? That's what I'm telling you. It looks like the simple process, but I will
But how
tell
many
you,
months did it take?
it took, I would say, the whole process when I easily like 7 to 8 months, right? It takes the
Okay.
once you do this
Yeah,
and
that's
apply
the
offer letter. Yeah. And I remember that I completed, or I was almost done with my first year of graduation of bachelor's in commerce back home too, because I was
okay.
doing that at the same time too. I didn't want it to waste my time. And
Hmm.
now the philosophy behind is that when I mentioned earlier that this looks like a very simple process, right? That someone just
Hmm.
came and they just gave this inspiration to my parents, and they ended up, putting all of their life savings and my tuition fee and then sending me here. But I now understand that why that opportunity even came to me, why universe or
Hmm.
why God even decided to give me that opportunity is somewhere that I was attracting or working through that law of attraction, which I just learned when I was here in Canada. When I used to study, I always used to constantly have this deep desire within myself that I want to do something big. I want to do something great. I don't know what it's going to be. I have no idea what I'm going to end up doing. But that desire, that burning desire, was always there. It's still even there with me. And I feel like that sort of attracted the opportunity and created that path that I needed to be where I am today.
Hmm.
So what I'm trying to say here is that sometimes when we look at our circumstances, our present reality, it limits us, right? It doesn't even let us
Hmm.
dream.
Yeah.
It's like you are reminding yourself that it's not even possible for me. I shouldn't even think about it. Actually, no. We don't even know, like, we are just a tiny part of this like huge big universe. And
Absolutely.
it really depends on like how big you see yourself, how
Yeah.
abundant, like you see yourself. And so don't limit yourself to the current limitations, the reality, but like actually fuel that positive energy, that hope that you have within yourself. And I believe that once you focus your energy on that, it starts attracting all of the other opportunities which are going to
Hmm.
help you to be where you should be. Yeah, so
Hmm.
that's my journey of pivoting or coming from the tiny little small village to this big city in Canada, Montreal.
But you said, right, you never had this idea of moving, and then
Yeah,
at one point you
yeah,
mentioned that you were somehow unintentionally manifesting it. What do you mean by that? That did
yeah.
you used to think about it? Did you used to talk about it with somebody, or did you used to research about what was that sort the source of that manifestation? What was that like?
Yeah. So the source of I never had that idea that I'm gonna leave this, I'm gonna go to like any other country. That was
Yeah.
honestly never there. The source of inspiration was that I am going to help. I always
Okay.
saw myself talking in front of a lot of people. And
Hmm.
what I'm doing today is one of that
Absolutely.
glimpse, just talking, sharing my journey. So that was the source of inspiration. And, you know, I think when you attach or when you focus your energy towards the purpose, that what do you want to do,
Hmm.
it actually then leads to the destinations where you should be, instead of you choosing the destination and telling the purpose
Yeah.
that, hey, I need to be here first. No. Even
Hmm.
until today, I believe in that I don't know if I'm going to be here. Like, I don't know, in 5 years, I might be in a different city, different country. Oh,
Yeah.
God knows, right? So I let my purpose um, drive that. So I hope
Okay.
that answers, but it's
Yeah.
more like leading with that faith, leading with that vision that you see. Only you can see that. There's no one else can see
Hundred
it. Like
percent.
that better
Yeah.
person of the second version of yourself. And for me, I
Yeah.
always saw me like, talking to different groups of people, um, talking to, like inspiring them and sharing with them, like whatever I can do to help them. And I feel like God just is now using me and he's putting me where I should be in order to give that wisdom or
Mhm.
energy or whatever he wants me to give. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. No, I love this. Actually, reminds me of this one image I saw on Instagram. I'm sure you'll love it also. So it was like a text message from the contact, and the contact was saved as God, and it said the message said, "I did not show you those visions for nothing. They were meant for
Oh my
something."
God. Yeah.
And when I saw that, I remember it was also one of those days where I wasn't feeling the best. And I was like, that's so true. Why am I even
Yeah.
questioning all this? If I'm really seeing all these things, it means that this is the final thing I'm seeing, right? The journey, I
Yeah.
am the one who has to really work and get to that final destination, right? So I absolutely
Yeah.
love that. And you 101% answered the
Yeah.
question. So yeah.
Yeah. I feel like sometimes it's okay for us as humans to try to take control of things, and we
Mm,
want to make sure
yeah.
that we have a control because we don't want to live in fear. And but at the end of the day, we didn't even had a control uh, to make a decision in this big question of that, um, should I be born or not? You
Hmm.
were just given a birth.
Absolutely.
You were never asked,
Yeah.
right? So I mean, like, in time to time, in actual, it's easy to say what we're saying. I understand that.
Yeah.
And in real life, these things, they actually seem like, oh my God, no, but you don't know, I have to do this, I have to do that. When we try to, for example, let's say I do know a lot of like students or a lot of like my close friends and family relatives who were really focused, like, oh no, they want to go to Canada, like I want to go to Canada no matter what,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah, I know.
once you
We all
hold
have
that
those relatives, yeah.
energy, right, we have that. But at the end of
Yeah.
the day, if it's going to happen, it's going to happen, like, right? So
Hmm.
what I'm trying to say that when we are trying to put too much control, when we are trying to put things in a box and we are trying to make sure that everything goes according to how you and I want, it's
Hmm.
impossible. We don't have a
Yeah.
control on things. And that's one of the things which I see a lot of the time as an immigrants when we come here.
Hmm.
That's the first thing that we have with us is that I want to have the security. I want to feel like I'm
Hmm.
safe. I have a job or something that I don't want to go through the stress and anxiety of just overthinking and blah, 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 all of those different emotions. And I feel like that's where you need to rely on this faith. You need to channel this hope more and more, like the moments when you are falling into that negativity of like nothing is working for
Hmm.
me. I have given 10 different interviews but nobody wants to hire me. You don't even know that the more you are putting your energy in that negative, you know negative side, the more it's giving you the negative results. That the more we are trying to uh, take a control on things, on decisions, these big decisions of our life actually formed based on our the foundation of self-belief, the foundation of faith, the foundation of hope,
Yeah.
the foundation of positivity. And if we are not making sure that foundation is right, then how can you expect to build this perfect house out of that weak foundation?
Absolutely, yeah. This also reminds me of this dialogue from Zindina Milegi Dobara कि सब लिखा हुआ है. Everything is written,
हाँ,
You are just a
ऐसे
part,
कह
you're a
लो, yes.
character in it.
And it's so hard to believe in that too, and I understand that,
Yeah,
right? Time to
yeah,
time, we are like, it's like a test. God or whoever, if someone doesn't believe in God, I mean, like there is some sort of energy, right? It's like the more we want something, the more hard it gets. The more it's like,
yeah,
why, God, why? So I think that's
yeah.
the moment you really need to take a step back and be like, you know what? I believe that wherever I am, uh, wherever I am, I'm supposed to be,
Yeah.
and everything is working in my favor, and
Mhm.
things gonna make sense. Yeah.
All right. So now 2013, you landed in Canada. Tell me about
Yes.
your first day when you landed.
My first day, and I was just like, I felt I'm still in a dream. I had to pinch myself. That's the first time I ever
Mm.
pinched myself in my whole life. I heard the idea of pinching in like movies or something, I don't even know.
Mhm.
But I actually pinched myself the first time I saw when, the plane was going to land in Montreal. You get to see the city from the top view. I have never seen something so huge like that before,
Mm.
and my heart was beating so fast, and I remember being so nervous. I remember feeling all kind of different emotions, like I'm away from my family, I'm away from my mom,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
I'm still very attached to them. And yeah, it was just like a lot of uncertainty, a lot of
Mhm.
like, oh my god, that where am I, and I hope this is going to go well, God.
Mhm.
As I told you, that foundation was there from that
Yeah.
fifth or sixth grade. So I always felt like the God was with me until I started developing my own senses. Now
Of
the
course.
transition
Yeah.
from that teenage age to becoming an adult and understanding now the world from your point of view, where you're like, okay, wait, who is God? Who am I even talking to? So
Yeah.
but my first experience was always, it's for everyone. I think
Mhm.
it's nervous,
Yeah.
it's daunting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And this anxiousness did not really stop there. I believe you have talked about your
Yeah.
journey a little bit, where you started in LaSalle College, like I mentioned in my introduction, and you were also like one of those 5 Indian students who were there back in 2013, right, in LaSalle College.
Yeah.
And then obviously, like the initial, the cultural shock, the shyness that you had, and inability to even stand up and ask questions in the class. So tell me about
Oh
the
yeah.
first initial 6 months, if you can, because I remember obviously after 6 months something else happened. But tell me about the
Yeah.
first 6 months.
The first 6 months was just accepting. I think this reality was like, I'm here. Oh my God. Like I'm
Mhm.
in this, like with different diverse, group of students. They are all from different parts of the
Mhm.
world. And um, as I told you that when I did the pivot from my that first school, that was like my first shock within for myself. And I felt that it's happening again now, because it was like again I'm in this environment where I don't see myself um, as someone who's from here. I see myself as an
Yeah.
outsider, and I remember that just gathering all of whatever the courage that I have all together every morning, and like, reminding myself that it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. All I have to do is just study. That's what I go for. And in the beginning, to be honest, Gerses, I don't even think so that I talked to anyone in my classes. I used to be the person who would just go sit at the first bench, just
Mhm.
listen to the teacher, get my stuff
Mhm.
done, get up and leave right away when the class is done. Run away from here so that I don't have to interact with someone in the beginning
Mhm.
phases, because I felt that shyness, that nervousness, that oh my god, that I don't even know how to speak English, like how I'm going to really
Yeah.
talk and how I'm going to understand them with the accent, right? That we all have different
Mhm.
accents. Or if I even try
100%.
to speak, I'm going to probably look someone who's stupid and who's dumb. And I would just like pack up my bag and stuff and run and maybe go and sit in a cafeteria or somewhere that I can find my own Punjabi friends and just be with them.
Yeah.
That was the comfort zone.
Mhm.
So first 6 months, that's how it happened. I just kind of, I, 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 I would say that I really worked hard to hide myself. Yeah,
Okay.
you know that I don't want to really look visible because I don't have that confidence. All I'm here for is to study. I want to make sure that I'm getting good grades, done, and that's it, which is definitely not the best way.
What month did you land in?
I landed in August in
Oh, but
2013.
that was like a transition towards the winters then.
Oh
So tell me
yeah.
about that. Did that take a toll on you? The
Oh
weather? How was
yeah,
that like?
definitely. Oh my goodness. I remember this one day. So I was in Montreal, and Montreal is really cold, right?
Of
And
course.
the one thing that I would say is that really impacts us as an immigrants is the lack of preparation. I feel
Mhm.
like from back home we are given this a big just a vision that you're gonna go there, you're gonna succeed, you're gonna be successful, done. But it's
Mhm.
not that. There are a lot of pieces. For example, weather is one of them. And
Yeah.
I remember I had an exam, like a midterm, and I was waiting for my bus in the early morning. It was like minus 30 or minus 35 between that. And I have no idea why my bus didn't show up. And I am
Okay.
still waiting outside for like more than 40 minutes. More than 40 minutes,
Mhm.
meaning that now my body and my feet, I can feel that
They're
they're
frozen.
they're like frozen. And I didn't even know, right? For me, education was like the everything for me. Like if I miss this midterm, I cannot afford to fail. Like I wasn't even gonna get failed, which I learned after
Yeah.
because I'm already scoring really good my marks, and I was just like
Yeah.
trying to kill myself over there in that bus stop. I was just like, okay, I can't miss this exam, so Diljit, just wait here for the next bus. I waited there for
Mhm.
almost 2 hours to a moment where I started feeling like stopped feeling the oxygen. Can you imagine that?
Oh,
That
wow.
was like my worst experience with this cold. I stopped
Mhm.
feeling the oxygen because I was like, now, because I was outside for way too long, my whole body. I didn't even had cell phone in the beginning, like for a good, I would say seven,
Really?
8 months. No, I didn't even had cell phone. And I was just like, what should I do? What should I do? I just like saw the bus coming from the opposite side, which was gonna go home. So I just took that,
Hmm.
went back home. Oh my goodness. It's still like, and I remember like after that winter, I was actually sort of, I don't know, traumatized for the winters. It took
Hmm.
me several years to tell myself that it's okay, I can stand outside for a certain time period, or else I could have,
Mhm.
I started feeling that the lack of oxygen. It was very, very brutal.
Wow, this actually reminds me of multiple uh, anecdotes I have about my experiences with the winter, which I will not share. It might be stories for different episode.
Episode,
But
yeah.
yes, the Montreal weather is brutal. It is definitely brutal, especially if you don't understand the public transit here. It is
Yeah,
complicated. It can get hard, to
it
survive. And on
can,
top of
yeah.
that, you have the certain names of certain streets which are unable to even ask for the help.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
imagine like asking somebody, sham de mars or plus the zats, people will be like,
I
what are you even saying?
I mean, you know what, Curses? This brings another very important point, which is that
Mhm.
imagine that I didn't even felt confident enough to ask the other passenger or
Mm,
someone that I can take their phone or
mhm,
call someone and just ask for help. No, I I was okay to punish myself for like an hour, 2 hours just to stand there. But
mhm,
I was not okay to break my comfort zone where I can just ask someone, talk to them. Can you imagine that? The transition? Like
mm.
I'm talking about it now
Yeah.
and I'm just like, whoa. That's how much close I used to be. That's how much shy or whatever the word is, introvert I used to be. And
Mhm.
the journey of the pivoting from being that girl to where I am today. Oh boy, a lot of
Yeah.
self development, a lot of self discovery. Yeah,
100%. And this is such so inspiring it is from anybody who has recently immigrated and they're listening to this. They can actually see that, oh my God, this all is possible. If Diljit can do it, you can do it as well. All that requires is to believe in yourself and that willingness to do these things. And
yeah,
speaking of willingness, Diljit, you have definitely, gone through a phase where you have really gone into that pit of self improvement.
oh
And I
yeah,
say that because you have definitely mentioned that 6 months later, some shift happened in you, and
hmm,
you were kind of feeling helpless one of those days, and you actually went to Google and searched, how can I feel better, right?
yes,
And I think that from that point also, I would say how I see is that the importance of mentorship also was introduced to your life, right? So I just wanted to just take the stage away and tell us all about it.
definitely. This is one of my favorite parts. So 6 months in, I would say that, sometimes we make life's decision just out of an excitement or just someone else told us that it's going to be better for us. And we take
Yeah.
that decision, but we don't really understand that we have to live through that decision. So for first 6 months, I think I was just trying to somewhere unconsciously ignore the reality of where I
Mhm.
am and what now I have to be and what it's going to take from me in order for me to be succeed here. And like when I felt the rush of all of these emotions all together, that I have to work here, I have to study here, I don't know anyone, my family is there, I feel homesickness or whatever, like I felt like a breakdown. And
Mhm.
it's not like a breakdown just happened one day. I remember in the beginning, every night I was probably like crying to bed that, oh my God, I don't know, I'm scared, I just want to go back, where am I?
Yeah.
But that one day it was just like, now it was like a pressure cooker, right? It just came out where I'm just like, okay, enough is enough. I have to make a decision because I cannot continue like this. I cannot
Hmm.
keep continuing trying to run away from the situation. I cannot just keep crying and feel sorry for myself or just constantly ask this that nothing is going to work for me. So that was the moment when I just feel terrible. What should I do? I just had iPad, I remember, and I put this words in the Google exactly which you said earlier, how to feel better, how can I feel better, right? And that's
Mhm.
when I stumbled upon Tony Robbins motivational video. I never heard about
Hmm.
any motivational personal development things before, but the moment when I watched that video, I think again it's the universe. When you actually ask something, ask universe, it presents you the answer
Hmm.
in different ways.
Yeah.
And now in that moment I remember that even my faith on God was getting it was decreasing, to be honest, because now I was going
Mm.
through my self discovery, right? The way I
Yeah.
saw God, now it's not the same way, because now I'm an adult. Now my mom is not telling me that if you pray, God is going to do this miracle, so have faith,
Yeah.
right? Now I understand, now this is not how it works. So I felt that the faith was not there. I felt that I was really questioning everything and really going through that tough phase. And that's the moment when I was just like so certain, and I was like, I'm gonna find the answer, because enough is enough. I can't feel that way. And that's when the video came in, and I listened to that video, and that one video really opened the door for me, where I was like, okay, so there is help available. It's just I need to be willing to look for it. I need to be willing to apply that help if I want to see a change, right? It's
Mm.
listening to videos, it's one thing, but applying that is when you're going to actually see the results. And a lot of the time when I
Absolutely.
hear,
Yeah.
right, when people tell me that, like, yeah, but I listen to motivational videos too, but I don't feel like it has done this much to my life, because you didn't apply it, right?
Yeah.
And you didn't believe in it. There's a difference. If I come to you and if I tell you that if you exercise for 30 days for 15 minutes a day, you're going to see a change. You will only know once you do it for 30 days for 15 minutes, right? You cannot just say, no,
100%.
it's not going to do it, or yeah, it will do it. Similarly, it's the same thing with mindset. Mind is a muscle too, like our body. So it's like the more you develop, the more you work on it, the more strong it's going to become. And that's what
Mhm.
I learned through that personal development journey. And
Mhm.
I then just remembered, the other next day, be like, okay, I'm here now. I have to work hard. Why am I working so hard? Obviously, for
Mm.
us as an immigrants in the beginning, it's about money. We want to make sure that, because we invest a
Yeah.
lot, to be here. We want to make
Mhm.
sure financial stability is there, and we are able to help our families and all of that. And that was my intention too. And then I was just like on the Google, I'm like, who's the richest man like in the world, or blah blah blah. And then somewhere when I was doing the research, I saw Warren Buffett. And
Mm.
then I was like, okay, I need to learn more about Warren Buffett. Who is this man? And I ended up listening to one of his interviews, very short interview on YouTube. The one thing that he said that has now changed my life too, where he said that, the interviewer asked him this question, that why do you think you are the richest man, or why do you think you are so successful today? And then
Mhm.
he said it, I am so successful today is not because I'm smart, is because I have been reading since the age 8. I was like
Mhm.
8 years old when I started reading, and I would spend my childhood most of the time in libraries reading. And
Okay.
the reason I am so good at all of this today, what I do, is because I know more than an average person, so I can make better decisions. And I was like, okay, this sounds really good. More, more. And then
Yeah.
and then I kept listening to his, and then the one takeaway he just mentioned, that if someone really want to change their life, they have to read. There's no way that
Mm.
you cannot, you know, succeed by remaining who you are. You have to become more. You have to become better version, and reading is something that's going to help you. And I remember just like getting so inspired, and I walked to the closest library of the house. I made my library card, and he recommended this book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. That's the first book I also read. And since then, I have never stopped reading. Since then,
Oh,
I have
wow.
never stopped working on my personal development. And that
Mhm.
one book I'd recommend to everyone too. And I highly uh, inspire everyone to actually lead with their curiosity. I just feel like wherever I am today is not that someone has told me to do these things. It's because I felt really stuck. Sometimes you're like, I don't even know what to do. Like, I'm
Yeah.
in this certain situation right now in my life. Is like, I don't know. Like, I just want to give up. But actually, you are in that situation because that situation is trying to teach you something, and
Mm.
that is the moment when you need to be more open, be more adaptable, be more, gentle with yourself, and it's those are the moments when you actually, either become the best version of yourself, or you either end up going down in your own self development journey, because
Yeah.
you end up asking other people, which we always do, which is important too. Sometimes you need to talk to your friend, to your partner, to hear their opinion, but at the end of the day, the change and the whatever you're trying to achieve in your life is only going to come if you follow and you do
Hmm.
what you want to do, is right. um,
Yeah.
yeah, so I did that. It has really impacted my life. um, all of those years of studying, getting the job, it has really pivoted and really helped me to get my career at a very good, place, because I was really great in personal development. A lot of the time, as an immigrant students, we are told to work hard, which is great. We are told to get good grades, amazing, but we don't even
Hmm.
know how to communicate, how to um, sell yourself, how to,
Absolutely.
communicate with other people.
Yeah.
And so the personal development part really helped me to boost all of those areas. When the moment when I was
Hmm.
done with my studies, the moment I had these areas worked on, like communication, the mindset part, so I was confident, I had some courage to talk to the interviewers with that much passion. And I feel like when also we are trying to go out in the real world, we are looking for this now opportunity to work
Yeah.
for. A lot of the time, my clients, when they now come and they tell me that I have given them an interview, I'm great at my skill set, but still I'm not getting hired. The reason is because
Yeah.
they don't feel any likability. The reason
Hmm.
is that they don't see who you are. How can they give you an opportunity if they don't
Yeah.
even know who you are? They
Hmm.
they have seen enough on your resume, right? But now it's more than that. And I feel like the personal development part actually gives you the opportunity to discover who you are. And
Yeah.
it just, gives you the confidence to show more authentically, and which then helps you succeed in all areas of your life, not only professionally.
Oh my God, Daljit, you have
A lot,
said
I know. So
you
many
have
things.
definitely, yes, you have said a lot. You have touched upon some incredible points. And if I really have to echo one of that, which I feel like is the, once again,
Yeah,
I'm coming back to the same word, foundation, is that one point you said where it's not only about learning all these lessons or watching all these motivation videos, it's actually about applying those in your life. And I think that
yeah,
has what made a biggest difference in your life, and it will make a big difference in the people, if any of our listeners are sort of on that same path, on that same self-discovery journey. If they really do that, that is what's going to help them to really succeed. And another point where you were talking about, really recognizing that whether you are stuck or not. And I'm highlighting this point because when you come here as an immigrant, you have so many things going on. You are in that loop of getting up in the morning, getting ready, going to your work, coming back again, following the same process. You have to
yeah,
recognize, you have to be conscious enough to see that you have to have that check in with yourself, that what am I doing? Is this really
right,
something I want to do? Is this the kind of life I really want to live? Is this something I see myself doing down the line, maybe 2 years, 3 years? So having that check in with yourself and having that consciousness to be able to have that. And obviously, that's absolutely okay to reach out and ask for that help also whenever needed. And I think for you, your mentors were those books, those videos, those TED Talks. But for somebody else, it might not be that. It might be some other sources, some other resources, might be some person they come across, right? So it could be anything. And obviously, like, your obsession with books has not stopped, it has increased. And I remember
hmm,
seeing on your post, books from Osho. You have also some books from Lily Singh. Actually, I saw you read this book from
yeah,
How to Be a Boss. I saw
yeah,
that. Then obviously books from Abraham Lincoln and lots and lots of like social psychology. Also, I see from that.
yeah.
And if I ask you, if you have to teach us something. If from one of these books, not one of these books, particularly social psychology, any thought, any certain lesson that would like to pass on to the listeners and to me, of course.
So I would like to share from one of my favorite books, which is The Art of Happiness by Dalai Lama.
Okay.
It's really
Mhm.
a book that I really go back time to time. Um, the most important part where he talks about that when we want to do something in life, there has to
Mhm.
be a clarity and a strong reason behind it. A lot of the time, we
Hmm.
make decisions, we start something, and we are not able to succeed at it. The reason is because we don't even know what are the real um, consequences we
Mhm.
are going to go after doing this. So for example, in simple words, if you want to get healthy, right, you want to
Mhm.
obviously start eating healthy and you want to start going to
Yeah.
gym. That's one way of looking at it. Now if you want to make sure that you stay consistent on this element of showing up for yourself in terms of being healthy every day, the reason needs to be bigger than that. Why? Because I'm
Hmm.
sure that you or I tell myself this every day. I need to be healthy. I need to be, and I still don't go to the
Yeah.
gym. That's not what it is. It's about really why. Like, why do I even care about this? I did this exercise for myself, and that for me, it was more that I want to feel that I'm active. And meaning active is that I'm engaging in different kind of activities where I let my inner child live. And that can be a Zumba, that can be just tennis, that can be swimming, that can be anything different. It doesn't have to be, right? What I'm trying to say
Mhm.
is that his point in that book was everything takes time, everything needs
Hmm.
determination. And if your reasons are clear, only then you're going to be able to succeed at it. So if you start something today, you need to ask yourself, what is it that you're trying to get out of that in 5 years? Don't just be like,
Hmm.
in 2 months, I want this, in 4 months, I want this. You're never going to be able to succeed at anything. You're just going to feel like a
Yeah.
failure. And in like today, if we go to social media, we see false information where people are telling that you can be rich in 30 days, you can build an empire within next 90 days. And
Yeah.
sometimes, yeah, I felt like I was falling a trap, in that trap too, where I would be like, how come I am so behind? How come everyone else is succeeding but I am not doing? And then you fall into that self critic. You're like now judging yourself, right? So you're not happy. And once you're not happy, you don't show up in your best self, and that impacts everything.
Hmm.
So it's important, if you want to do something, have that clarity. Only then you will be able to build that determination, and only then you will be able to see something, better. There's another lesson too from that book, if we have time, I would
Okay.
love to share,
Absolutely.
which
Please go ahead.
is, yeah, the most important, I think this I really liked, is that there's going to be like, there's never going to be enough. For example,
Mhm.
you cannot tell yourself that I want a perfect partner, I want a perfect house, I want a perfect job, I want a perfect everything. Perfect does not exist. So there
Mhm.
are two ways to live your life. Either you can continue living by telling yourself, or by going after achieving that perfect, or you can live your life by, you know, accepting and being grateful in what you have, and still, constantly improve yourself, work on yourself. That
Absolutely.
option
Yeah.
is always there. But if you're going to constantly compare yourself, if you're going to constantly run after that next thing, you're never going to be able to feel that contentment and happiness.
Yeah. Awesome. And my two takeaways are, one is obviously everything takes time and
Yeah.
determination. And the second one is perfect doesn't exist. And I think I'll add to that something which I read on the LinkedIn, that perfect doesn't exist. Start at your 50%.
Yeah, exactly. It took me a long time to learn that. That's why this one thing is really close to my heart.
Hmm.
I think when as our culture, we are told to be, when we are young, take good marks,
Hmm.
do good. You tend to have this expectation on yourself as a perfectionist that I have to be great at everything in order to do something. And oh my God, this was one of the unlearnings for me to actually be able to succeed in my life.
So, Diljit, before we get into the final segments, I want to talk briefly about your career coaching. mindset that you have built and how you
Yeah.
are lending and helping hand to people to grow in their careers and find the right paths as well. But I also wanted to tell us those very quickly the anecdotes of the time where you actually took on a free internship, like an unpaid internship, and then on from there you transitioned into getting a job which paid you merely $7 an hour, but even then you took it. I really wanted to tell us
Yeah.
about that because I'm sure people are gonna love it and they will feel inspired to continue to focus on the things that really want to do it rather than on the monetary return of it.
Yeah. I think for me, two things really helped me. The first was the mindset of if you do something, do it 100% or don't do it. So for me, that really helped me to show up, even if it was unpaid internship. I was living based on my values that I am going to make sure that I'm doing my part 100%. And once you do that, people around you, they see it. They can see the work that you're putting in, right? There are two ways to show up at your work. Either you just go there to check in, just complete your hours, or the other part is you go there to contribute, to learn, to live, right? So
Absolutely.
I was going more with the second part. And I was in desperate need. One of the other things is that when I completed my graduation, obviously my next goal was to get my professional job. And when I got that internship, being in Montreal, French driven city, it was really hard for me to even secure that opportunity. And once I had it, I just wanted to make sure that I give my all, like give my all, and that's what I did. And I did. Like I did to that point that I even forgot when my internship was completed. I was showing up there like extra, like maybe after a week the manager came in and she's like, Diljit, your internship was completed like 4 days ago or something, like, oh, last week. That's what she said to me. I'm like, oh, really? Okay, good to know. I was gonna show up tomorrow too because I even forgot about that when I'm done here. So silly,
Yeah.
but it just shows the drive that I had, that I was so much into it. I was obsessed pretty much with my career. Now, the moment when they told me the internship is done, I had that expectations. We all have that expectation when we give our best, that like, okay, I have done a good job. I'm going to get a good, return. But the moment for me was a little, not so happy because they told me that they don't have any position in the company. It's a small company. They're not hiring, but they all were really happy with my work. And even the CEO was like, you know what, if you need any recommendation, any reference, we'll give it to you. Like, okay, sadly, a little disappointed in myself. I just was like, that's okay, no problem. The next morning, I got up, I started working on my resume, I went out, started talking to different companies. After 4 days, I received a call from that company and message from the CEO that they want to talk to me. And I was
Okay.
like, okay. I went back to the company without having any expectations, and they proposed this offer that they don't have any position in the company. So they are just going to create one for me where I'm not going to work in accounting, but I'm going to work as a just operational admin person. They didn't even had like
Okay.
a genuine name for that position, to be honest. And they're going to pay me $7 an hour. And I was like, okay, that's not what I studied for, and that's really low. But in
Yeah.
that moment, I picked up on that opportunity. Two reasons. The first one is because I knew myself, that my work ethic and my desire to learn and grow, I knew that I'm going to succeed if I put my hard work in it. And the second is that I was okay to, work extra. Like then I kept my second job at Subway to maintain
Mm.
my finances, right? I knew that
Okay.
um, for you have to go through this short-term pain for long-term gain. And that's one of
Yeah.
the quote my father's always told me. I remember too, that Diljit, that's the real life is. You have to go through those tough moments and situations, pretty much like no pain, no gain. So that's the mindset. I'm like, okay, you know what?
Okay.
I'm gonna go through this. I ended up getting that job. Within 6 months, I was part of accounting team. Within two
Oh wow.
years, yeah, within 2 years, 2.5 years, I was a manager, youngest manager of the accounting team in that company. And then I was the fastest growing person in that company. My salary was like what, 27 or 26,000 a year. And then in 3.5 years, my salary was up
Mhm.
to like $60,000 in that company. And
Mm.
I pivoted from accounting to sales department. I was proposed that the company will pay for my education, graduation, whatever kind of study I want to do. They'll give me all of
Mhm.
that perks and stuff too. Yeah, so that was my journey, and it all happened because I stayed true to my values of putting in the work, doing the things right, being a good human. I know that in the beginning there was so much racism, there was so much discrimination that I had to go through. It's a French company.
Mhm.
I don't want to go into details, but
Mhm.
it was tough. But once again, my friends, the personal development, listening to the right source of information really helps you. And that helped me to go through that tough phase as well. Yeah.
Mhm. Once again, super super inspiring. And I love, again, once again, I love your quotes. Your father's quote as well, no pain no
Yeah.
gain. And something which you added to that is, go through that short term pain for that long term gain. I think
Yeah.
that's what the life is of an immigrant. Initially things are hard,
Yeah.
everything is hunky dory. Also at times when you're calm, everything
Mm,
is nice, the skies are clear, but your minds aren't. And eventually
yeah.
the weather takes a toll on you. The pressure of collecting those PR points and everything, kind of is so overwhelming.
Yeah.
But it all pays off eventually, as long as you are focused towards your goal and having the blinders towards something which is not serving you, and something which needs to be unlearned as well, and new things to learn and grow in this new world that you have decided to live in now. So I also want you to just tell us more about, a little bit, how can people connect with you, and if they reach out to you, what all they can expect to learn from you.
Definitely. So I'm very active on my LinkedIn and also Instagram too. On LinkedIn, they can just search with my name, Daljit Kaur, and as a career mindset coach. And you can just message me and I'll be able to get in touch with you. And what they can expect to learn from me is everything pretty much in terms of the immigrant journey. I have 4 different phases that I have planned in my program. The first phase is mindset. I believe that no matter how smart you are, but if you don't believe in yourself, you're not going to succeed. And a lot of the time when us as an like perfect immigrants make this pivot to another country, we start questioning our own self-worth. We start really we start feeling like we don't have any sort of one clear focus, or your mindset is taking a toll on you at that point. So that's very important for me, and I work through that phase. Then the second phase is personal development. Now in personal development, don't expect that I'm going to start preaching you the summaries of book. No, these are
Mhm.
actually the actionable steps that you need to succeed in this North American work culture, which means your communication skills, your presentation skills, your writing skills, those professional emails, and all of that. These things are really, really important when you're trying to make a good, successful career here. So I go through that, and everything that is in my program is personalized. I don't try to, just teach something which is not going to work for you, because we all learn
Mm.
differently. And my approach is very flexible, and I first see what's your learning style. What is the best way you are going to adapt and change, bring that change that you needed. The third phase is professional development, meaning all of the career technicalities that we go through. We work on your LinkedIn personal branding, we work on your resume storytelling, we work on your interviews preparation, all of that's career part that we need. And then the last part is the immigrant journey, meaning that if you are here today, you have made this big decision to leave that comfort from your home, and you are on this journey of this self discovery or successful or whatever it is. It's important for you to know that what kind of impact you are creating for yourself, for your family, for your community. And that's where we get more deeper
Mhm.
into what is it that you can do to give back now to the community?
Yeah.
And that sort of really boosts their morale, and that helps them to gain that confidence back that they need when they're feeling really lost in this uncertain time period of their life. That's one thing, but once again,
Hmm.
I am very flexible and personalized, meaning that if I see that these all four phases are not important for you, then I will just pick one phase or two phases and then we'll work through that. At the end of the day, the goal is for you to feel that flow, that easiness, that confidence, trust,
Hmm.
like everything within yourself in order to get the job that you're looking for.
Yeah. No, I can also ensure to people that how passionate you are for your work, because I remember you
Yeah,
telling me you actually held up a line at Tim Hortons to teach the girl, who was
I know.
who was
Oh
taking
my
your
God.
order, who
Yeah,
was Indian, right? And you were asking her that even though you have the PR, why are you still doing this job?
it
I
boils my
wanted to really
blood.
tell us about that anecdote as well,
Oh
and
my
that was
God.
way before you even started doing this career coaching, right?
That was I would say that those moments actually told me that this is something that I need to do, because I lived in Montreal for 8 to 9 years, and then I moved
Yeah.
to Toronto, and I lived in Brampton for like a year. And I feel like the culture in Montreal and Brampton is obviously very different. And
Yeah.
I saw our community girls, very talented, very smart girls, just like doing the bare minimum jobs and not trying what they should try. And it really
Hmm.
really bothered me. And I remember just going to this Tim Hortons, and then this girl is like serving me, and I'm like, "What, so are you studying?" I guess she's like, "No, I'm not." Like, "Oh, okay, then you're on your work permit, I believe, right? Oh, things must be." She's like, "No, no, no, I'm on PR now, I'm done with everything." I'm like, "Okay, then we have to talk. What are you doing here? Why Tim Hortons? Like, do you need help? Like, what's wrong?" And she's like, "No, no, no. I have done my economics from back home, and I'm master's, blah, blah, blah." I'm like, "Seriously, your parents spent this much money for you to be
Hmm.
able." I'm not saying this is wrong. Every job is
Yeah,
important. I have worked in restaurants too, but there's a phase in
absolutely.
life,
Yeah.
a phase where you should now explore more of yourself. God gave you the gifts, and if you're not going to work on to improve or unleash those gifts, you're going to die with them. And that's injustice. That's like, wrong that you're doing to yourself and to the community. And I was just like, okay. And I remember just leaving that Tim Hortons feeling so disturbed. And after that, I had many other small interactions, or situations where I was just like, you
Mhm,
know what, at least I should start with something. I should just do what I can do
mhm,
from what's in my control. And that's how I started coaching.
hmm.
Yeah.
Wow, such an awesome and inspiring story, and I'll put the links to contact Daljit in the show notes for all my listeners. Now we are in this segment which I call Know Your Host, where I give my guests an opportunity to ask me any question they might have.
Question for you is that what inspired you to do what you're doing today?
Wow, that's a heavy question because I have so many things to say. But to tell you briefly, I would say it is an amalgamation of all my experiences, interactions, good and bad experiences, and following that, seeing the impact those tiny conversations that I've had with people offline, and how I was able to pull them out of their underconfident state, which I was like, if I can do that to one person, why not to put it on air and bring on these people who are creating this impact just like yourself. And instead of like me reinventing the wheel and building like a program or something, let me bring all these experts and allow them to share their journeys and their experiences, so that if any of these people, somebody who is new immigrant or aspiring immigrant, even planning to come to Canada or anywhere from any part of the world, how about I tell them that, hey, it is possible. If you are going through a certain phase, if you are going through the low times, if you feel like you are alone in your journey, you are not. Look at all these people. If he or she can do it, you can do it as well. And if any way I could instill that hope and that
Wow.
that will in that people, through these conversations, that's pretty much my goal is. And even if this one person comes to me and tells me that this conversation and this person has really inspired me, and I feel like I can't I got that push to continue to remain in my journey and stay put, that will be my win for me. So that's, I would say, how I would answer that question for you, Daljit. Yeah.
That is huge, and that is so, so, so noble. Thank you for sharing that with all of us today. Because what you do, it takes a lot of efforts too, right? It, we tune into the podcast, but a lot of work goes behind the scenes,
Mhm.
and it takes a lot of determination to do what you're doing. So thank you for doing that, and thank you for sharing with all of us.
No, thank you for this question. No, I love these questions when they come my way. It really like forces me to frame my words and articulate the thoughts, and I really love that. It's like very on the spot. I have to think on my feet. So thank you for this question. So, Diljit, now we're in the final segment of the podcast. I call it Beneath the Accent, where I'm going to ask a couple of questions. You can answer them in one word or a sentence or however you feel like. The idea is just to know more about you. So, ready?
Yep.
So, what advice would you give to younger Diljit who has just landed in Canada?
You're enough, and don't compare yourself with others. We are all in different phases of our journey. Um,
Mhm.
yeah, you're more than enough.
Okay. What's that one dish from your home country that always brings you comfort and nostalgia?
As Punjabi, this is one of the meals that we grew up eating. It's my favorite, makki di roti with sarson da saag.
Oh my god! Now, before you even said that, I could hear it.
You
Before you
knew
even
it,
said
it's
that,
coming.
I know.
That's it. That's it. Oh
Definitely.
my God. Yeah, it brings everything.
Okay. Tell us about any funny story, if you have, related to your misunderstanding around the accent or English.
Honestly, Garces, it's going to be a hard one for me to choose one because I feel like um, it's a part of life now just to, have a conversation with different diverse people. We all here in Canada have different accents, and there are more than one time for sure where I said something or someone said something and it just completely went into the different path. So, yeah,
Okay.
I don't know if I have a specific story. I'm going to pass on that one.
Okay. So, what's your like favorite cultural festival or celebration in Canada?
Oh, in Canada, I love the winter time when around Christmas. Like
Hmm.
it's just the energy. I feel like it's very live with the lights, with the those small festivals that happens, and everyone is sort of they sit next to that like warm fire. It reminds me of
Hmm.
Lodi at the same time too. Uh,
Yeah.
just warmth, the just warm feeling of people sitting, just chatting, and just in that light, in that festive mode. It really, it gives that hope in that winter season too. Yeah,
Yeah. Okay. I think we all love that. Yeah.
yeah.
Describe a moment, Diljit, when you experienced a significant cultural shock and that surprised you.
Significant cultural shock.
I'll give an example. Like for me, it was about when somebody told me that let's go and have dinner at like 5:30 p.m. And I'm like, that's the time we even think about having dinner, like what we have to make. So it was like my cultural shock for me.
Yeah, so for me, the cultural shock was when I told in the beginning everyone that I'm vegetarian, and they start proposing me different options in vegetarian, meaning that, oh, okay, so you're vegetarian, but you can eat fish. I'm like, no, that's not my kind of vegetarian. Like, you're vegetarian, okay, then
Okay.
how about you can eat egg? I'm like, I don't know if there are types in vegetarians too, but that for me was a big cultural shock when I got here, that people just
Okay.
were confusing me with different type of, and they were
Mhm.
trying to help, and then just give me different options to eat, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
no, not this, not that. Yeah, I'm just like,
Yeah.
no, I don't consider fish as a vegetarian, so sorry about that.
I don't think so. Also, it is, and also it's so hard to find the paneer items here, right? And
Oh
so
yeah.
it's just impossible sometimes. Yeah.
It's impossible. It's impossible. Sometimes I do think that I want to go back, like India, and get some
Mhm.
cooking classes to make some good food here for, for us, especially as a vegetarian. It's hard.
Okay. Tell us about the first friend that you made in Canada, Diljit, and are you still in connect?
Oh, yeah. So I actually made two friends, not one, two girlfriends. We met on the first day and in our college, and now I call them a family. They're not friends anymore.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Tell me about a moment where being an immigrant made you feel exceptionally proud or accomplished.
Uh, there are several moments when we feel that in our immigrant journey because immigrant journey is just a journey which is, a journey of going through different phases of self-discovery filled with different challenges. The one moment I would say when I remember I didn't give up on my quality, my values when I was studying. I
Hmm.
had like 6 semesters, 3 years, and I was giving all my in when my friends or my close like other students would be like, hey, we just need to pass, why are you putting in so much work? And it's like, why we have to work too, so blah blah blah. And then I am
Hmm.
so proud of that moment that I didn't give up on my values and I kept putting in the work of that 100%, and I ended up getting a scholarship at end of the
Oh wow.
my study, which
Mm-hmm.
was a very big thing for me as an international student with the tuition fee. And that moment really reminded me that one should never compromise their own values, and that was the one thing. And the second moment was when I saw my parents, my younger brother, here now in Canada with
Mm.
me. That's another accomplished moment because that's the dream I came with, right? That I want to give back and I want to make sure
Absolutely.
that, yeah, so they're here now, they're with me. And every day I feel like when I talk to them, when I see them, it just reminds me that success, that immigrant happiness,
Yeah.
I made it.
If you could have one superpower, what would it be?
Oh, wow. That's a big one. Just only one, Gursis? You need to be more generous. Give me more options.
As many as you want. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Just one superpower if I have. I would take this superpower where I would want to have this ability to help people to see their actual true potential or their best version in themselves. Like we
Mm.
all see it. We all see the glimpse, but we don't really know if it's true or not. We don't know that, we don't believe in it. I would want that superpower where I can make others believe in that so that they can just go after it and achieve it.
Wow, that must be very helpful. It will be for
Yeah.
people. So describe Canada in one word or a sentence.
I know in our, in our Hindi or Punjabi, it's like Karam Bhumi, a land that has given me the opportunity to be who I am. I can say land of opportunities. Yeah.
Okay. And if you could leave me with one piece of advice, Daljit, what would it be?
I just want to share this message that you may be inspired right now in your life to do what you're doing right now. It's one phase of your life, and you're also a human just like anyone else, right? And
Yeah.
you are also going to go through a phase where you probably will ask your questions, your decisions about what you're doing today too. But the only
Yeah.
advice that I have for you is to just keep that, your right intention, that your purpose
Mhm.
of giving back close to you, because the more bigger you're going to get in this space of creating podcast, or there is so much
Mhm.
noise in the world, and as we are all
Mm.
human, we can start comparing ourselves, we can start questioning that, oh my god, now what's next, right? I would, my only advice is to me, to myself, and to you also, is that just lead with the purpose. And um,
Mm.
the days when you feel like it's getting hard, the days when you feel like maybe it's not doing what you wanted to be to do it, it's the day when you should remind yourself that you're doing it for your purpose. You're not doing it because you want to make it right.
Oh my God. In the future, whenever I will become a little bit successful and popular, so to say, this advice
You're
will be
already
part of the
successful.
montage. No, 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 in the future, I'm telling you, this advice that you just gave, this will be the part of the montage that will be created overall. It was amazing. Thank you for saying that.
I'm looking forward to
And
that.
absolutely. And lastly, how would you describe your experience of being on the podcast today?
Oh my God, lovely. I feel like there was so much flow, and we talked about um, very, very important things, the areas like as immigrants, how we have to pivot, how we have to go through self-discovery, and we have to question our self-worth and just rediscover who we are. We have to unlearn so many things, learn new things. And
Hmm.
you
Yeah,
shared parts of your story, I shared parts of my story. I think at end of the day, the conversation that we are having today is a sort of like a reminder for us as well, that how far we have come as an immigrant community, that
hmm,
what legacy we have created as an immigrant
yeah,
community for our generations to come. And the conversation that you and I are having today is just maybe a tiny little, a drop in that ocean, to make sure
absolutely.
that it's keep getting, filled, it's keep getting better and better, so that all together we can create this better space for each other to thrive in. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for everything you have said. And thank you for being on the podcast, Aljit, and adding value to me and to my listeners. Thank you for that.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me.